And I am back for another Vivisection. I just wrapped one up. Took forever, so I'm sorry to these men for waiting on me. But
Another one.
we we are here for the Invicta FC 15 Vivisection, breaking it down with Victor Rodriguez and Dio. We're gonna be
You
talking.
almost said Martinez that time. That's cool. I respect
I
that.
thought, you know what? I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. That's not my thing anymore.
Oh, okay.
You know, I'm not going back to the Martinez well.
Oh, Jesus.
But Victor Rodriguez, Dio, and we're
Yep.
talking Invicta FC 15, Cyborg, Daria Ibragimova, and a small card. We're not going to be spending a lot of time on this. We all have other things, other places to be, unfortunately. But we're going to try to rush through this one, give you the odds, give you the picks, give you some breakdowns.
Awesome.
Gentlemen, how excited are you for this card? Dio, what are you looking forward to?
Uh, like there's like you only have there's one barn burner fight, which is like anytime Edion Gomes is in a fight anywhere, some crazy shit's going to happen. But like outside of that, there's not really too much where it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be an enthralling bout. Yeah, yeah, it's another Invicta card.
Yeah, Vic, you got one that you're just foaming at the mouth over there.
I don't know if I'd put it that way. There's a few that I feel are likely to deliver on the action front. You know.
I want to know what's got you lathered up. Come on.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's
awesome.
one fight that's very likely to steal the show, and I think it's going to be that co-main between Bennett and Souza. I think there's some possibilities for some pretty fun stuff there. It's how likely it's going to be. I don't really know, and I'm sure we're going to address that too. Paoluhi versus Schneider looks kind of fun. Look, the fact that this is an Invicta event is more exciting than some of the fights themselves. I mean, the fact that they're still going on, that they're kind of the building of the way they're bringing some of these prospects up is nice. So that's really the most exciting thing about this, which may sound like a slight, but it's not. I mean, this really looks like it can deliver on the fun end. So.
Well, and they got to do what they got to do. You're Invicta. You got to kind of just keep plugging away event
Yeah.
after event as much as you can get out there and keep going forward. You always know that an MMA organization is doomed not when they stop putting on cards with weak talent, but when they just stop putting on cards. Like oh no, we couldn't, our card fell apart because we couldn't get enough big fighters or something, so we're not going to put one on right now. It's like, oh shit.
Cough, cough. Titan FC. Cough, cough.
Yeah. So on that note, first bout up. Like I say, we're not going to take a lot of niceties here. First bout up, Megan Anderson, Amber LeBrock. Vic, what are your thoughts?
All right. Well, first off, you got two very tall, heavy-handed, raw, very, very raw, talented ladies that are going to be basically playing rock'em sock'em robots. I don't think we're going to see too much in the way of takedowns. They're going to basically try to work on the range and just try to knock each other's head off. I'm a little interested in seeing if Lebrock has some improvements from what I've seen from her before. She's got a tendency just basically looping this punch over her shoulder, not much in the way of a jab. Anderson likes to throw a little down the middle, but again, both of them are headhunters, and there's a lot of potential for chaos with not much in the way of defense for either party.
Who are you picking?
Ooh. Based on experience, I want to say Anderson, but it's not the best of experience, I'd say. I mean, granted, the regional Australian scene is what it is. There's not that much to pick from, so you can't be too choosy. However, Lebrock is 1-0, although she is 3-1 as an amateur. She's got a couple of submissions in there and one knockout as a pro.
Who are you picking?
I'm going to have to go in this case. I don't know what the odds are probably going to be, but if they're favorable, I'd probably go with Lebrock. Just as a crazy upset, I'd go with that because I'm imagining Anderson's probably ahead.
Dio?
This guy is drinking out of a fucking mason jar. Yeah.
Man,
I'm
couldn't start
going.
raising goats.
You say this like you doubt how dirty and hood I am. Like this is a surprise.
We know about the dirty
That's not
part.
hood. That's like,
That's
white.
backwoods stuff.
That's like, hipster. I want to live a life of like I raised chickens in the city life. That's what that is.
Damn.
But yeah, with this one, I'm gonna go Anderson. Like Vic said, this is going to be like beanpole rock'em sock'em, and like me and him talked about this yesterday. Somebody at Invicta has a fetish for watching tall girls just wing punches at each other because there's one of these on every single card. I'm gonna go with Anderson. Has a little bit more experience, in my opinion, a little bit better technique because LeBrock will just sit there and just arm punch and arm punch and arm punch and arm punch and arm punch until the person goes away with, no defense. So, yeah, somebody's going to get TKO'd in this one probably. So.
All right. Dio is on the side of the favorite. Megan Anderson is minus 164 up to minus 170. Amber LeBrock plus 130 to plus 136.
Did we mention that they're tall?
I think you did. Touched on the tall factor. Now, we're going to go Amanda Bell, Edion Gomes, Dio.
I'm going to pick Gomes just off experience. Yeah. Like, I just don't ever want to pick against her because I'm afraid she will show up at my house and bury me in the backyard. And, like, Amanda Bell hits really hard, but not the fastest in the world, not the best technique. So I'm gonna go Gomes.
Kind of looks like Tamden McCrory with dreads.
Really does. Actually, she might actually be more muscular than Tamden McCrory, to be truthful. So.
I don't see it. I just don't. I don't know why. Oh well. All right. Well.
Oh, actually, you know what? So Bell and LeBrock, that was in the last fight, they both starched Marina Shafir, Ronda's bestie.
Yeah, apparently
bless her heart.
that should be a more notable achievement than it is.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Vic.
Oh boy. Yeah. Glendale jokes aside, Belle is a very tough lady. She's implementing her wrestling a lot better now. She's got a bunch of amateur fights, and she's really sort of, I guess, hit a bit of a stride. Like, she's looking a lot more put together, but I don't think Gomez is done. I really think that despite the fact that she's coming off a two-loss skid, I really do think that she has the savvy to pull this off if she's able to at least change phases in this fight. Not just, okay, all I'm going to do is punch and then, oh, wait, I'm grappling now. Like, no, she's able to make things a little smoother this time around. She definitely should be favored to win this bout. Also, an interesting note, Gomez is replacing the injured Lisa Ellis, who was supposed to be on this card against Bell. So we got to wonder how that's going to change Bell's preparation for this bout. But, yeah, Gomez has fought bigger names. She's,
and a man. She has fought a man also.
And beaten the snot out of said man.
Yes.
Relentlessly. But, I really do think that whatever she was missing, she very well might actually find this time around.
All right, the odds have Gomes ahead, minus 154 to minus 160. Amanda Bell, plus 120 to plus 126. That is closer than I would have guessed, frankly. I'm surprised that Gomes isn't more of a favorite there, as she's been around the circuit for quite a while. But
she's been a bit inconsistent, and she's had some trouble. So I can see kind of why. Yeah.
Yeah, that Raquel Pahlaui fight was pretty ugly, actually. I mean,
Very.
Pahlaui has improved a lot, but that was kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to Lacey Schuckman, Zuki Inoue, and I believe that's Vic. You're up first.
Yes. Now, Schuckman is currently 11-8 as a professional. She's got 6 submissions on that record, and she's 4-2 as an amateur. So despite the fact that she's only 27, she's got a lot more fights than what a lot of women her age actually end up having.
Her age, so.
Well, I mean, so there's a lot of men that age that don't. You're right, but the reason I mention this is, despite the fact that record has not been necessarily the best, She has fought some very tough opposition, people like Carla Esparza and Patricia Vodanik, Michelle Watterson. She does have a win over Jenny Lou Shriver, that last win that she had in Invicta, which is a pretty controversial stoppage. She does have a bit of a disadvantage dealing with people that come in with a lot of volume, and her stance isn't always optimal, although she does hit pretty hard. She can turn things around pretty quick. Problem is she's going to be taking on Inoue, who we've seen and we've shown much love and respect for, duly so, because she's really good at playing that counter game, and she's just she's not very large for that division, but she keeps coming forward, man. She just keeps a good solid pace, and I think she might be able to do what she needs to do to push Schuckman away.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Inoue's never been she's always kind of like, if she has to shift gears, she's not great at that, but if you play her style, she's right there. Dio, your thoughts?
I will always fangirl for Mizuki Inoue. That's like as Vic said, like, her counter game. She is one of the best strikers in women's MMA. Period. There's no two ways about it. She can't, you can just actively see that she has to switch from this game to this game to this game to this game, and that's what keeps her behind. Like when she fought against Kavakevich, you could see the same thing happen where she would start and then, okay, now we're in the clinch. I have to get the clinch now. Okay, now we're on the ground. I have to switch to that. And there's no flow to it. But just off of skill alone, I'm gonna go with Mizuki Inoue.
Mm.
Yeah, she is a let's see. Oh yeah, she's a sizable favorite, minus 453 to minus 475. Lacey Schuckman, the underdog, plus 325 to plus 347.
And if Inoue loses, she really does need to if fighting and wanting to be at the highest level, she is going to seriously have to think about moving to the States to a better camp, because you just can't find that. Most Japanese gyms are segregated. You have one gym for boxing, you go to another for wrestling, you go to another for jiu-jitsu, another for Muay Thai. And it's like, that's, if this was 1995, sweet, that's going to work. But now it's that she can't do that anymore. And we just saw, Joanne Calderwood finally was like, look, Dinky Ninjas isn't doing it anymore. Let me go ahead and go over to TriStar. So this rate, for me, I'm more excited about the outcome than the actual fight itself, just to see where she goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It'll be interesting to see with Inoue, especially being so young still, and having fought so long already. What is she going to do over the next decade? How much is she going to have to change her game or adapt or switch things up? Because she's got time, but it's always hard to say with fighters who start as young as she did. Next up, Angela Hill, Alita Gray. Dio?
Somebody's going to get these hands. That's all I know. This isn't going to the ground. This isn't going to be in the clinch. They are going to wing punches, and Angela Hill just happens to be the more skilled of the two and has more power. We're pretty sure you've probably seen the Alita Gray, she threw Molnar at that chick's chin and just destroyed her reality. But outside of that's been her best thing. But Angela Hill is just a more complete striker, has more pop to her more pop to her punches. So that's who I'm going with. Who's probably the favorite, I would think.
And she dressed up in the Vault Boy costume.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was okay. It was okay.
It was, you get points for effort, but the outfit itself, it's not that easy to do. Unless you buy an official one from Bethesda, you're not really doing it.
Exactly. It looked like a weird C-Lab 2021 outfit.
Yeah. It was cute, though. Good try. Roxy and
all right. No more hate for the outfit. I like the outfit. But Vic, Give me some breakdown of the
I'm
fight.
just saying, Roxy Modafferi had more dedication for her Mortal Kombat outfit than that. That's all I'm saying.
Modafferi is always on point with her outfit game.
This is very true. All right, Angela Hill, we pretty much are all familiar with at this point. She's 2-2 as a professional. Came into the UFC at 1-0, and it was largely lauded for her kickboxing background, her Muay Thai background. The problem is she's going to be taking on Alita Gray, who, despite being an Olympic alternate in the 1996 Olympic Games in judo, hasn't really used much of her judo. She's largely been someone who's, I guess, transferred a lot of that natural strength, or the strength that she's been training and implementing in judo, and just translating that to striking power. So I'm not really sure that Hill has much of a strength advantage in this one, especially not when it comes to actually hitting their opponent. I really do think Gray could very well put her on Queer Street, if not put her out. I think it's possible. I just don't think it's very likely. I think Hill's technique and her movement is just going to be too much better. I think she's just going to be able to, use her angles, use her footwork, take out her legs with kicks, and it's really just going to be. And I agree with Dio wholeheartedly. It's going to be one of those things where it's not going to go to the ground. I'm hoping it doesn't go to the ground, because this really does have a lot of promise to be a bit of a striking exhibition. Another note as well, another injury. Alita Gray is replacing Jodie Escobel, who was supposed to be taking on Angela Hill in this one.
Who is on every single Invicta card.
Yes. Ever. Almost. It's like almost every other card she's on. But, hey, that's not a bad thing. I like watching her fight. But the point is, again, you got to wonder how Hill's going to adjust. I got to pick Hill on this just based on everything else. Power alone is not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. And she is pound for pound one of the best Twitter follows in MMA.
Yes.
And it's not even close.
Yes.
She's a fantastic. She is a fantastic public presence outside the cage.
Yes.
She's also a sizable favorite here, -335 to -350. Gray +250 to +265. I think that's a little far for as green as Hill is still, but I do think she deserves to be the favorite. Next up, Amber Brown, Shino Van Hoos. Vic,
oh, Christ.
I'm going to let you lead this one off because I know Dio is chomping at the bit for it, so I'm going to make him wait because waiting makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. All right, a little bit quickly, very briefly on Amber Brown. She's training out of New Mexico, not from Jackson's, but out of Fit NHB, which has seen some of their products eventually reach the UFC as well. It's a very decent gym from what I see. Apparently it's just down the road from Jackson's. Amber Brown is currently 5-1 as a professional. All of her bouts have been at a professional level with 2 submissions and 1 TKO. She will make the fight ugly and dirty, but it's fun to watch. It's not one of those tough slogs where it's slow and she's just grinding on the person, not really looking to do that much damage. She really is trying to make that effort to finish the fight, even if she doesn't get it. She did end up beating Liz McCarthy and Catherine Costigan, and she's currently on a 3-fight win streak. And she did have a loss to Emi Fujino in Pancrase 247 a while ago. But that's just a case of too much too soon. She's getting herself together, and she's got a pretty decent game, although it is, I'd say, 75 to 80% wrestling, and that's good. She's taking on someone who's got a kickboxing record or a kickboxing background, as Shino Van Hoos. Now, let me just, and this is the part that really I find most bothersome about this whole deal. Shino Van Hoos is someone who's currently 4-3 as a professional. She's got 3 submissions and 1 knockout. And, you're talking about someone who has faced opponents. One of her opponents that she's beaten currently stands at 0-6, another one at 0-12. She's fighting people who should not be fighting at all whatsoever. And this right here, this is probably the closest, if not the absolute equivalent, of an Explode product in Invicta.
Yep.
I mean, this is just the craziest. And the only notable name that she's had on a record was a loss to Shohi Hamdallah, who's currently in the UFC and is a very good fighter. So there's no shame in that there. But, I mean, outside of that, nothing, absolutely nothing that I see there is going to be positive in the end. She's not going to be strong enough to handle Amber Brown. Her takedown defense is not going to be there. Her counter wrestling isn't going to be there either. I don't see her hurting her with any kicks or punches or anything like that. I don't think she's going to throw anything that Brown either hasn't seen or can't withstand. So this right here is not a good look for Invicta. And as much as I love the organization and what they do, I understand that they're working with what they've got. It's probably hard to get opponents for certain people, certain fighters, but this was not. If Van Hoos had been put in against another striker, I'd probably be a little less upset. But this, no, absolute no.
Dio, tell us how it really is.
Oh man, where do I start?
Oh,
So,
here we fucking
in
go.
the research for this fight, checked out a few things that I could see, and it was all bad. She lacks athleticism. She, like, as I'm talking to Vic yesterday, like, she looks like if you just took the chick that stocks T-shirts at Hot Topic and put her in a cage. That's it. No training. It looked like when she strikes, it looks like she's striking in water with weights on. There's nothing, like when you do the kick pad drills, there's a video of her doing that out there, and it's just like, okay, now I'm really worried. As Vic said, she's only won against people that are bad. Like, not even kind of sort of bad. No. Like, really bad. She's fought essentially like bored housewives in Japan. So only people that she was able to fight. And anytime she fought anybody with even a modicum of skill, she lost. Like when she fought Seo Hee-ham, she had nothing. The entire fight of like anytime she got any offense off was because Seo Hee-ham made a mistake while she was trying to do something. And it was like an accidental, I actually threw her. What do I do now? I had no clue what to do. And it's just like, this is egregious on Invicta's part because she shouldn't be in the ring with somebody as skilled as Amber Brown. Even though Amber Brown's only 5-1, she's fought really high level competition for that weight class, and it's just like she is going to she might actually walk through Van Hoos's body and just split it apart at this point. Like, it's that bad. And it's like, no disrespect, because I respect her for even getting into the cage, but these two, this is, one of these things is not like the other. And one's a fighter, and the other isn't. And I like her. Apparently she comes from a family of fighters. 2 of her brothers are kickboxers in Japan. One of them is a prospect. But it's like, she got none of that.
All right. On that note, Amber Brown is the favorite. Minus 665 to minus 705.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. Matt mentioned 2 things very briefly here. First off, had this been a kickboxing bout only, and not even MMA, maybe then that would be something else. But just very quick, just to look at the 4 wins that she's got, and I'm talking about Van Hoos here. Okay, Jody Lynn Riker, 0-2. Kimi Okada, 0-6. Asami Higa, 0-3. Nana Ichikawa, 0-12. I mean, I want to feel better about this, but, I can't just sit here and pretend that it's all roses. That's messed up right there.
Yeah. I don't think she has never beat a fighter who's won a fight.
No.
That's a rough way to go about it. Shino Van Hoos, the underdog, plus 435 to plus 475. Frankly, those odds feel short.
One thing. So, her fight against Seo Hee-ham, and this should tell you everything that you need to know. This was on, I believe it was Road FC.
Yeah.
They have these events where it's Korea versus another country, and usually they just find a fighter from another country that will lose, essentially. She happens to have be of Japanese descent, so they found her as the Japanese loser to come lose to Seo Hee-ham. Like, that should tell you just how bad she is. Like, it's a gimme fight.
Yeah, it's not great. All right, let's move on though, because we got 3 more fights to talk about, and I don't want to wallow on that. Raquel Paul-Louis, Colleen Schneider up next. Damon, Dio, lead us.
This is so, this is a tough one for me because you have somebody that doesn't have the most athleticism and best fight IQ in Raquel Paul-Louis, but then you have one of the Gictas or not even Gictas, just Gicts, as Eugene S. Robinson would say, and Colleen Schneider. You just can't trust her to do anything, So, gonna go with Paul-Louis. This could turn into a pretty interesting grappling battle, because if I remember correctly, Colleen Schneider is I know I don't know. She trains with Barnett. I know she was dating Barnett for a while too. So could be an interesting grappling battle. So I don't. Yeah. You say some facts about stuff, Vic. Now.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say that was pretty remarkable from Dio. Dio doesn't get the lead anymore. Vic, you're on point.
All right, Pa Louie, for those of you who may not remember, you've seen her around. She's fought some people, 5-4 as a professional. She's got currently on a 3-win fight streak. She does have some early losses to people like Sarah D'Alelio, Sarah McMahon, Amanda Nunes, and Raquel Pennington. Although she did eventually
good in most of those fights, though, still.
Exactly, and that's what I was just going to get to. We mentioned her before in a previous Vivisection and how she has a propensity of really looking good in a lot of these fights, even though she loses. And there's something to be said about that. It's one of those things where you really cannot count her out no matter what. She's taking on another wily veteran, Colleen Schneider, who, again, another injury, replacing Irene Aldana, who was supposed to be on this card as well.
Sweet Jaguar woman.
Oh, you devil, you. Anyway, Schneider currently 9-6, 2-0 as a professional. She had 2 TKOs as an amateur. I'm sorry, and 9-6 as a pro. You know, she's got 3 submissions on her record. She's fought pretty much everywhere. Although the problem is that she keeps hitting these stumbling blocks. She did have a win over Brianne Fissori, who fought for Bellator in that Pancrase card. I think it was 270 a while ago. And look, man, she's looking a lot better. She's got that Savate background. She's getting her kicks in there, mixing everything up a little better. She's got that catch wrestling and everything else that she's getting under the tutelage of Josh Barnett and the rest of the guys from CSW. I really do hope that this ends up being much more of a grappling bout than anything else. If it does stay standing, I would say that Pa Louie, just with her barrage of nonstop winging strikes and just running in and causing as much damage as possible could make things much more complicated. If Schneider is able to retain distance, however, and sort of pick her shots and use her movement, we could end up seeing a little bit more of a chess game between these two. So that I really do think this fight probably not getting as much attention as it should. It really does seem like it's got some upswing to it.
Yeah.
I'm actually the odds are probably gonna favor Pa Louie, and I'm actually gonna stick with Schneider on this one. I think they've both come to this point where they didn't have everything together, and now they're really hitting that stride. But I think Schneider just is a little further ahead in that department.
I think just off my own gut instinct, I want to pick Pa Louie because I feel like she's made some real big jumps lately, and it seems mostly she fought a lot of good. The losses she has in her career are all to actually really good competition.
Yeah.
Raquel Pennington, Amanda Nunes, Sarah McMahon, and Sarah D'Alelio.
Yeah.
And it seems like she's actually she's one of the. And you see this in men's MMA, you see this in women's MMA. It's fighters who are getting in shape as they fight their pro career.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Bisping.
Well, I don't know, maybe Bisping, but I think more of Ken Hasegawa.
I was just thinking Hasegawa, yes. You go from mega weight,
megaton champ,
megaton
welterweight fighter. You see it all the time in men's heavyweight of these dudes that are just they have 15 pro fights, and it looks like they have, they just got out of they just came out of the drive-through over at Taco Bell.
Yeah, they didn't even bother using the squat racket curves. They just went right to the MMA gym and said, "Yes, this is where this will make us money." Yes.
And some of them get in shape. That's the thing, is that some of them, they do this long enough, they train enough, and suddenly it's just oh wait, I'm actually have Junior Dos Santos. Dude decided, I want to get in shape. I'll go do MMA. Ended up being a top heavyweight.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Pa Louie is just kind of hitting that, where it's suddenly now she's in shape and things are clicking for her.
And she's got that innate Polynesian power that all of them seem to just she smacked fire out of Amanda Nunes in that fight. I was when I first saw that, I said, "Oh, wait a minute, this is something." But
she can take the shots too, because she ate some damage from both McMahon and Nunes. So
she eats damage in every fight.
I just feel like it's a question of, is she getting is she training enough to get in shape for the fights? Because that seems to be, and getting the right training, the wrestling and all that. Anyway, that brings us to the co-main event. Livia Hanada. Oh wait, no, we need odds. I'm skipping over myself. That fight, Pa Louie is the favorite, minus 230 to minus 221. Colleen Schneider plus 170 to plus 179. That brings us to the co-main event, Livia Hanada Souza versus Deanna Bennett, and that is
Vic.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, Livia Souza, a bit of a mystery with her. You're talking about a fighter who is currently 8-0. She basically came in for her Invicta debut, took on Katya Kankanpa and won the title there, taking on an undersized opponent who was very game and took a lot of damage, but in the end, she was just too much. And I think that's one of those things that no one's really. I really think that her size and her athleticism have been really the key to her getting as far as she has. I mean, she's certainly fought. She's one of these people who's fought some opposition that hasn't necessarily been great, but at the same time, it hasn't been as much of a hindrance for her. It seems largely to have been something that hasn't affected her much because maybe she's just been fighting far tougher people on the Brazilian scene. I mean, there's a handful of her opponents or previous opponents that have terrible records, and we're not necessarily. I'm not gonna dwell on that right now, but because it's not even like it's that many. But I really do think that her experience. I don't know how well she's gonna deal with someone like Bennett, who trains out of the Pit Elevated up in Orem, Utah. She trains at Court McGee and Company. Also 8-0. 2-0 as an amateur, and not only that, but Deanna Bennett's one of those people who strangely, and this is something I wrote in the preview that came out this morning, she really has been probably one of the most under-the-radar fighters in any women's division. She's got wins over people like Sharon Jacobson, who's a two-time national wrestling champion, Juliana Pena, who's now at the UFC and possibly going to jail. Colleen Schneider.
Now.
I plead the fifth. So many amendments. Michelle Wu, Jennifer Maya, Norma Rueda Center, and the also former champion Katya Kankanpa. So she's just really strung a series of wins on this quiet tip that, it probably the fact that she's not finishing everyone and the fights don't look as pretty, it doesn't mean that she's not good, and she really may present far more challenges. She may be undersized here against Souza. Her jiu-jitsu may not be where it needs to be to hang with her, but she may not need that. She could very well just be as a generalist in all these other areas, and being able to use her striking and sort of try to tire her out and use her fight IQ, she very well could bring in a bit of an upset, which I would actually, I'm going to guess that Souza's the favorite here. I don't know what the odds are for this, but I'm going to guess that they're, and if they are, I'm picking Bennett for the upset. I really do think that she's as erratic as her striking may be, and as probably as strange as her game may seem, I really just think she has more tools overall to make this what it needs to be for her to win.
Deal?
Yeah. So, yeah, Deanna Bennett is definitely one of the most under the radar people. Like her last fight, it wasn't the prettiest fight, but she's huge for this division because she used to fight at 125. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And she looked like death on the scale last time. But she's pretty well-rounded. And, like, Souza is, like, that's the thing about undefeated prospects from places like Brazil. You have a lot of fighters where you really don't know, like, the pedigree of the fighters that she fought before. Sure, you can see all the different names that they fought, but you really don't know because half of these, fights never make it to TV or YouTube or where have you. So it's like you really can't put much weight into it. And I don't trust anybody that has fuzzy braids. Like I've never seen her have braids that look like they are in decent shape in any picture ever. If you have fuzzy braids, I don't trust you at all.
And that is what we don't pay him for, folks.
Goes for her, Meek Mill, back in the day when he had fuzzy braids.
Yin Yang Twins.
And he just lost Yin Yang Twins.
I never
Federline.
Oh, wow.
Take your pick.
Hang on. There's only one exception, and that's Inikamos. I'll let him rock because,
those are dreads, jackass.
Yeah, well, true, I guess.
All
right.
All right. on the fuzzy braid note, and much to Vic's surprise, Deanna Bennett's actually the favorite. And she started out as a bigger favorite. She
Because
started
she is
out
going
as
to. This is going to be ugly. She is going to put her up against the cage, and she is going to grind her into dust on the cage.
Bennett is at minus 135 to minus 129. Hinata Souza minus 105 to plus 101. So, not long odds, but Bennett is seen as the favorite. And that brings us to our main event, which is worthy of the deepest technical breakdown possible.
Oh yeah.
It's TJ Dillashaw versus Dominic Cruz, women's division.
Yeah.
That's Chris Cyborg versus Daria Ibragimova. Theo, give us the deep and complex technical breakdown.
Cyborg smash.
There it
Fuck
is.
else am I supposed to say? Like this is just another one. Well, we need somebody to fight Cyborg, and we need somebody that's got a decent record this time. But shit is shit. She is not going to win.
Vic?
If she does,
Yeah.
biggest upset in one of the biggest upsets in MMA history.
Vic, any way through for Ibragimova?
Through what exactly?
Chainsaw.
This. What are we doing?
Desert Eagle.
You better like throw her a shotgun or something over a steel cage or something. Like the Ghost of Roddy Piper better slap some brass knuckles or some shit. I don't see how that's gonna happen. Look, I don't like talking this way about fighters in general. I mean, and this is something that we always say this every episode. Look, you're brave enough stepping in there and doing what you're going to do. I mean, it takes a lot to say, yes, I will go in there and I will fight Chris Cyborg because I think I can win. I don't
fight Chris Cyborg. I'm going to throw that right now. I like my nose. I like my teeth. I like being able to see out of my eyes. Ain't going to happen.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to have it. Just no. You don't want these kind of problems that you're going to end up with. So for her to go in there and say yes, I'm gonna like fine. I respect that. That's good. Let's look at what exactly is going on here because on the surface, I don't care what anybody says. It looks decent on the surface at first, right? But then okay, Daria's 9-1 as a professional. 7 submissions, 1 TKO. All right, she's got a triangle choke loss to Cindy Dandois, and what was actually a pretty fun grappling exchange bout. That was a fight that they had in M1 a couple years ago.
But Cindy Dandois is fucking terrible.
Oh well, you know what? Cindy Dandois is more of a grappler than anything else. I don't really consider her as. I mean, like now I can consider her an MMA fighter, but back then she was really nothing much more. Well, no, she really wasn't much else than a grappler then, and she was winning some of these fights in impressive fashion. Okay, it's like that's just where it's at. She has competed and trained in sumo. She's trained in sambo. She's trained in wrestling. She's got lumbering overhands. She has virtually no footwork. She flicks her jab every once in a while just to show that it's there. And she dives for heel hooks every now and again, inexplicably not catching any of them. I don't understand why this is taking place. I mean, Cindy Dandois was supposed to be the opponent here. There have been rumors that she might be going to the UFC or there's some other personal thing. This is why I don't believe everything that I read on the internet. So something happened. Dandois not fighting. They had to get someone with a decent record, and so now we end up with Daria.
They saw her last fight is what happened.
Well, I don't know. Look, this is just not. There's no way that anyone's going to spoil the Cyborg train. It's just not going to happen. You know, she's too strong. She's not going to be caught in some crazy submission. There's nothing that she can't muscle her way out of on the ground because Ibragimova, unfortunately, doesn't seem like she's got the best conditioning either. Her cardio seems a little suspect. Her athleticism isn't really on the level of someone who could actually go ahead and beat someone like Cyborg. I thought Charmaine Tweet would be someone who would give Cyborg more fits as a striker who should be able to maybe use her range intelligently, pop her with a few shots, maybe not do too much damage but kind of keep her at bay, and that couldn't happen. What leads anybody to believe that Daria Ibragimova is going to come up with something like that to do it? By the time she ends up on her back, which is also another thing I noted in the preview, by the time she ends up on the floor with Cyborg, it's probably going to be too late. She's already going to be absorbing too much damage. So, no, I don't see it. I don't see anything that Chris Cyborg is going to probably win this fight by a Mike Hager pile driver. Okay, it's just no, absolute no. close up shop. Don't put just this is the one fight on the card where I tell you what not to bet on. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't do it. It's bad. This is
On that note,
all
if
bad.
you're still feeling tantalized, Daria Ibragimova is an underdog to the tune of plus 1100 to plus 1280. Chris
Exactly.
Cyborg is the favorite, minus 2300 to minus 2120.
Are you fucking serious? See, you've got to be the filthiest degenerate on the planet.
Take that up. Like, yeah.
Powerball odds are better than no.
Yeah, like seriously, like Shan Knapp would have to pull the equivalent of, in wrestling terms, the Montreal screw job, and just call for the bell to fucking end for and bring him over to fight, like to win the fight. It's just like the only tests that Cyborg has in MMA are at 135, which sucks because she's never going to go there now because Ronda Rousey, which we need to touch on that for a brief second. Yeah. Ronda got
briefest second.
Jesus Christ. But like there is nothing left for Cyborg at 145. Like even if by some miracle, lightning strikes through the building and a flying saucer comes down and drops a cow on Cyborg,
oh Jesus.
There's really no way, like what do you do next? Do you bring Dandois back so she gets starched? Because Cyborg won, so she hasn't been. So last fight was 45 seconds. The fight before that, 46 seconds. Like it's just like no. And those fighters were better fighters than Ibragimova.
Yes.
All right. On that note, we are closing the show. We will have a 6th round for UFC Boston and our normal Cordonus shows next week. Care, don't care, 6th round, all that good stuff. If I did it, I don't remember what UFC fight is next week, but whatever, we'll have something for it. Thank you guys for joining me. You can find me on Twitter at DZaneSimon. You can find Vic on Twitter at VicMRodriguez. And you can find Dio on Twitter at I'mJustDio.
And you can say whatever the fuck you want in the comment section, because I don't got to deal with you fuckers anymore.
That's right. He's out. He'll be here for this shit, though, so if you want to comment on YouTube and tell him how much you hate him, that's always there for you.
Yes.
I will shit in everything that you own.
On that note, we are done here with the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Give us a like if you enjoyed any of this shit on YouTube, and subscribe to MMANation.com. That's DOTCOM over on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.